Daily, what brings the Brigadier and all of his men together every afternoon?
Every afternoon. Actually, you know what? I have no idea.
Unity. Unity.
Planet of the pudding brains.
There's no point in being grown up if you can't be childish sometimes.
Would you like a jelly baby?
Shut up!
Hello and welcome, Whovians. Grab your scarves, grab your sonic screwdrivers, because we're about to pull the lever and head way back into time. We're going back to 1977.
74.
74. Why do I keep going to 77?
I don't know, but it was definitely December 28th, 1974,
All right.
when the part one of Robot aired.
Yes.
And this was the task you set before me, to watch the 4 parts to this first story. Things were strange back in the bygone era of the 70s, where they had one episode which equates to 2 hours, but it's in 4 parts, a half hour each.
Half-hour episodes for the week.
Right. So weird. But again, 70s.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It's serial television.
And wow, while the story is good, the arc of the story is very good. And I am a self-proclaimed prince of the 80s, child of the 80s, and I watched a lot of sci-fi during the 80s.
Well, of course. I think all of us older nerds did.
Sci-fi from the 70s and 80s does not stand up well.
No, it doesn't.
Not at all. I will fully admit, while watching these episodes, I had to keep the mantra in the back of my mind. 1974, 1974, 1974. They were literally just figuring out how to do some of this stuff. Give them a little slack.
Oh, yeah.
A little leeway. But there were moments where my inner Tom Servo just went berserk.
I do the same thing. I did the same thing. So it was season 12, episode 1, part 1, and part 2 is what we're going to be going over. They were aired December 28th, 1974, and January 4th, 1975. So yeah, there was no Christmas episode that year. Damn it.
Ooh.
And it was the first full serial with Tom Baker portraying the Doctor. Elizabeth Sladen was Sarah Jane Smith. Ian Marter was a newcomer to the show as Harry Sullivan. And Nicholas Courtney was reprising his role as Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. Man, I love the Brigadier.
He's a very proper chap.
Oh, he totally
very,
is.
very proper British general.
He's like,
Brigadier.
I'm in charge, and I'm one of the men.
And we're going to do this in a proper fashion, status quo. Nobody get ruffled.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody get ruffled, and engage the monster in a proper British fashion.
First approach it, ask it what it's doing. Then when it kills you, take 5 minutes to die.
Yeah. Yeah. The extended prolong. Like, all right, look, you would have been vaporized. You can't possibly have that sort of muscle spasm. Short of it being an electric attack, then I'll give it to you.
Old sci-fi death scenes were some of the greatest comedy
they were
bits.
so campy. That's so campy.
But the episode starts off with a regeneration. John Pertwee has left the show, and now Tom Baker's coming in, and it's just like they overlapped the film.
Somebody had a very early version of a video toaster and just did a little effect over and went from one screen to another and just superimposed it right over.
Yeah.
But I loved the reactions. First of all, Sarah Jane just, I think it's happening.
Yep.
And the Brigadier, like, oh, yes, here he goes again. Oh, okay. It's like it's old news. Like, this has only ever happened maybe once before in front of you, maybe twice.
Well, true, but the Brigadier met the second Doctor, then worked with the third Doctor when the third Doctor was stuck on Earth, and now it's the fourth one. So for him, it's just like, yeah, it's the doctor again doing that face swap thing he does.
Right. Yeah.
And Sarah Jane's like, he told me this could happen.
He looks completely different now.
But Brigadier, calls for the medical officer, Harry Sullivan. And I actually even wrote down the Fourth Doctor's first spoken words. Typical Sontaran attitude. Stop, Lynx. Course of human history. I tell you, Brigadier, there's nothing to worry about. The Brontosaurus is large and placid. And stupid. If the square on the hypotenuse equals the sum of the square on the other two sides, why is a mouse when it spins? Never did know the answer to that one.
Yeah, this is when he's laying on the ground and just coming in and out of consciousness and blurting complete nonsense to them, but I'm quite sure he knew exactly what he was talking about.
I'm still trying to understand the mouse when it spun.
Well, the plans of mice.
Okay.
I don't know. All right,
no
sorry,
idea.
I had to steal the Douglas Adams right there, but
But yeah, they get him out into the not infirmary, sick bay.
well, they try to move him to the sick bay, and he keeps telling the doctor, "No, I'm fine. Look," and he chops a brick in half, karate chops a brick in half, and then starts jogging in place and getting his heart rates up. And again, I get the idea that, like you said, this guy is new and hasn't dealt with the doctor before, so he has him listen to the first heart, and then he listens to the second heart, and is like, "Yeah, no, I'm fine." And the doctor's like, "Wait, what just happened here?" He's like, "No, I'm off. I'm out of here. I'm going away." So of course the poor doctor is trying to deal with the doctor, who gives him "Oh no, you're a doctor, but I'm the doctor," the genuine article, you might say. He nails that line again. But just kind of gives him a hard time.
I know. But yeah, just before that, though, we get our first guard attacked by whatever this creature is.
By what looks to be like Rosie from the friggin' Jetsons.
Quilted eyes.
Quilted eyes and clamps for hands.
Yeah.
I want to know whose idea it was that robot hands always had to be clamps.
Yeah, I don't get it.
You're going to get the clamps, But
why is it always clamps?
It's just not a practical design.
No.
It's really not.
No, and it actually gets funnier later on, too. But yeah, it's like I said that this was the creature, whatever the bad thing is, trying to find a new pair of glasses. Seriously, those are terrible.
Yeah, the quadrillion focals he's got going on, the bug eye lens is not good.
But yeah, the next day. Brigadier tells Sarah Jane about the attack. Why is he telling a civilian?
Investigative reporter,
Yeah.
And of course, by this point, he's probably like, "You're gonna call the doctor in on this. You're gonna find out anyway."
Yeah,
but
the doctor's
come
gonna
here,
find
you
out.
skirt, find out. Give us the good press.
But yes, she wants to head off to this think tank, where it's scientists from all over have come together and they're bringing the best minds together. And yeah, then the doctor tries to sneak away with Harry catching him. Chops a brick in half.
Yeah, and it's just no, I'm fine.
Whack! I'm like, wow.
Easy, Bruce Lee.
Okay, chill out. But yeah, then we go through the montage of. No, we didn't. Doctor finally sees his face.
And gives the self-appraisal.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, I have to take the smooth with the rough. I rather like the nose, though."
I was like, yes, you will. We all will.
I just thought that was funny. It's kind of like whenever Capaldi shows up and immediately starts appraising his eyebrows.
Oh, I like the eyebrows.
Yeah, they're cross.
I get to look mad about stuff. I get to look at things in Scottish.
Thank God I can plane. But
then we go into Sarah Jane finally convinces the doctor to stay. He's actually just trying to leave. He's still discombobulated, but he's just like, "All right, well, it's been nice, everyone. I'm out."
right.
Like,
No, I
new
want to go.
face.
I really need to go.
New year, new me. I'm out.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, what? Hashtag fake friends.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, the doctor's throwing shade. But now we go over to this robot breaks into the second facility and kills a guard who was 2 days away from retirement. That guy was so old.
Getting too old for this shit.
Yeah, just sitting down reading a newspaper. Robot breaks in and kills him. Come on.
Yeah. But he didn't really try to evade all that much. I mean, there was very definitely a robot like meh, and grab. You know, it's like you just see the arm kind of go up and down, and you can tell the poor guy in the costume is trying not to just throat punch this guy with the clamp.
Here, let me just hold this out. Lean against it.
Choke yourself with my hand. Lean into it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, right. Now just die. Okay.
Rips the phone off the wall too. Yeah, smart guy. I can't trace that phone call now.
Right. Yeah. There's no communications out. Nothing else. The line has been cut.
Yeah.
Right. They used to be able to do that. I can just see kids watching this now going, hey, just use a cell phone.
They could still...
Didn't exist.
You didn't have that stuff at the time. But yeah, then we go back to the doctor trying on some of the costumes. Oh, this is... I really wish he would dress up a lot more.
Oh, yeah, that was brilliant. Comes out as the Viking. You're trying to be inconspicuous. Do you think I'll be noticed? Yes. Yes, I think you'll be noticed.
Comes out in the royal robes. And when both Sarah Jane and the Brigadier are like, no.
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 Oh, and hangs his head and goes back in.
Comes out as the clown.
As the Italian clown. I'm like, I'm like,
no. But finally comes out in the proper coat and scarf.
Right. How's this? Well, it'll do.
It'll do. I can go back and I can do more.
No.
They're like, no.
Dear Lord, stop it.
The doctor was like, this is going to be fun. I get to try stuff on.
I'm not sure. What era am I in? Will this work? But I believe you told me that bit actually came about with them just setting Tom Baker loose on the costume department and
Pretty
going,
much.
just, this is your real costume, but pick out whatever.
Instead of being like, oh, I'm going to try on this weird, that era style costume, and like, that's not going to work for you. He just went crazy with it. He's like, Viking warrior, let's get crazy. Clown, all right. This one, okay, let's do this.
Royal Chamberlain, yeah, let's roll.
They're like, what? But the doctor, the brigadier, doctor, and brigadier's second in command, his number 2 guy. I forget that guy's name right now, or the character's name, because I didn't write it down. Matt, you have the magic in front of you.
Give me a moment. It's Sergeant Benton.
Benton, yes. And the doctor, Dr. Brigadier and Benton, are at the site of the second break-in.
The scene of the crime.
Yeah. And the doctor deduces that it's some creature that is going out of its way not to crush a flower, but it can tear through a fence and kill a person. What are we talking about here? And then deduces about what the weight of it should be. Like,
based on the step, how much earth is displaced.
They were like, he's like, it's about a 1/4 ton. It's like, crap, that's huge.
Right. So, and what does it want? And why is it not knocking down more walls like the Kool-Aid guy?
I know.
Because you're not fitting through a normal doorway with that sort of dimensions unless you're like really tall or something really dense.
I know.
This is a heavy footprint to leave, though. You imagine dimensionally it's going to have a pretty wide shoulder base.
The doctor also deduces that the parts that have been taken are for a disintegrator gun.
Silly humans always making weapons.
I like the brigadier being like, "What? No.
What do you mean?
I have no idea what you're talking." The doctor's like, "Seriously." Okay, all right.
All right, so we're missing. There's going to be a third break-in.
There's going to be a third. We're keeping some stuff there, and they're like, "All right, call it in."
Yeah, Ford up, people. Let's go.
Meanwhile, Sarah Jane heads to the think tank and makes a faux pas right away by thanking the assistant of Director Winters.
Right.
Like, Director, it's so wonderful to meet you. Director Winters is like, I thought this misogynistic attitude would have been less from you.
Yeah, I didn't expect these chauvinist ideas from you. What
like,
do you mean? I'm in charge.
Oh, well, I mean...
Sorry. Okay.
no,
Show me around.
Sorry. But, I mean, during that era, it was very, very rare to see a woman in charge of anything.
Right.
So...
yeah, an appropriate assumption for the times, but even now these days,
Yeah. Now I'm
you might possibly catch that if somebody goes in and just makes the assumption, sees
now
a
you
man
can
and
also-
a woman standing there. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
still
You're like,
prevalent today.
all I have is a last name.
Yes.
I would have walked up and just been like, Director Winters, while looking for the first one to turn towards me. And be like, oh, there we go. How are you?
Or, pardon me, I'm looking for
Yes.
Director Winters. Oh, that's me. Oh, nice
Hi,
to meet. Hi.
Nice to meet you.
They didn't have a picture with the profile. Sorry.
But the brigadier and the doctor are headed off to secure the factory. While like this bounces back and forth between the two stories or the two following main characters a lot during this section.
Yeah, it does. It really bounces. And there's a lot of exposition.
Yeah, but
Kind of unnecessary exposition at some point.
I'm going to run down what Sarah Jane goes through. Then I'm going to go through the doctor and brigadier.
Fair enough.
So Sarah Jane goes to Think Tank and is shown, kind of runs through an employees only door, which I'm trying to figure out why it was unlocked in the first place.
Right, of course. You know, it's like there's nothing behind it. I'm guessing because the nefarious individuals involved wanted her back there for some reason or another.
I don't get it.
Because otherwise it really was just I'm just going to run in here. She should have bounced off that door like a rubber ball.
Like, boom, it's
Like,
locked.
You got to at least throw a shoulder action into it. Something.
Yeah.
No, she just turn the knob, walks on in. Like,
I know. Goes to the robotics wing, like, right away. And it's like, oh, what's in here? It's like, what?
it's actually kind of an empty room.
Yeah.
Very dark. And again, you would think you would, I don't know, look for a light switch.
Notices a smell.
Yeah, notices a strange smell because there's always a bloody smell.
Almost slips.
Yeah, almost takes a header in the middle of the room.
Like, just goes to turn around and just like, whoop. She's like, oh, I didn't get this. That's weird. And then just decides to go talk to the Professor Kettlewell. He was the head of robotics, and that was his lab.
Right, to find out why basically everything's been cleared out.
Yeah, because, she's an investigative reporter, and she was just like, this is interesting. I'm going to follow this story. I don't get it, but okay. But, yeah, she goes and visits him and gets the cold shoulder from him as well. He's just like, I have nothing to do with them. I'm out.
Right, and of course he looks like your atypical mad professor from that era, like, little squirrely dude with big, like, zapped out friggin' white shock hair.
Yeah.
Looks like, okay, you're trying to do the Einstein thing, but you're kind of missing this bit right in the front of your dome.
I know.
So you just kind of have like a frizz semi-halo.
Got kind of the bozo going on.
Yeah, a little bit of the bozo going on, but, big Coke bottle glasses as well. Like, okay, typecast mad scientist, you're so the one who put all of this in motion.
Oh, of course.
It's got supervillain all over you.
Oh, yeah. That's like my notes. It was like, Professor Kettlewell, kind of shady.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, he's the shady guy in this episode. Gotcha. All right. Now I'm going to flip back over to the doctor.
Right.
So the doctor and Unit have locked the factory down. Nothing coming from the sky, nothing coming from the ground. And the doctor's like, oh, that's really awesome. You've got sky. Yeah, there's still one more.
Everything, it is totally impregnable.
Yeah.
I hate that word, impregnable. It's much like unsinkable, said everyone on the Titanic.
Glub, glub, glub.
Glub, 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 glub. And just like sinks down into the Jeep. Ben and the
pulls his
Brigadier are
hats
just
down.
looking at him like, did you really just go there?
Yes, I did.
But yeah, as he points out, there's one way it can still come
Something
up
could
with,
dig up underneath.
which of course it immediately does.
Yes,
Which-
how serendipitous.
Yeah, it looks like somebody took a model and used a big spork. And
Yeah, that's pretty much
poked it up through the bottom. And again, it was like they were just figuring out how to do special effects. CGI was not a thing.
Exactly.
Just laugh at it and just try and figure out, was that actually a spork they just used?
No, it looked like a toy shovel.
It might have been a toy shovel. Yeah.
Like it just poked up through. The guard just
God.
standing there, like watching it happen. The guard that was outside the door that just stopped and was like, "Wait, did I just feel the ground move?"
Did I just hear a ruckus? Can you describe the ruckus? Yeah. And just wanders on down. Nobody else like notes that the guy who was on the machine gun nest on top is suddenly like jumped down and gone inside. Nobody else is gonna radio and be like,
Nobody else runs.
We have an issue here.
Yeah, like he finally starts shooting, and he dies.
And he dies.
Yep. Yeah, he
We're,
died.
we're assuming crushed like a dandelion, but
I don't know.
but either way, the critter, whatever it is,
Went back through its hole.
yeah, went back through the hole it came, and then they truck off and actually find the entry point.
Yeah, and yeah, they talked about the large footprints as it headed off. If it's got large footprints, your unit follow them
Right.
to where they went. Instead, it's like, well, it walked away. We have to go back to HQ now.
Yeah. Well, they find the entry tunnel as well.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, it's got to be this size by this size, and oh my god, it's huge, but the tunnel doesn't make any sense because there's no
beams.
supports. They wouldn't be able to breathe. And Doctor's like, well, it's because whatever made this didn't need to breathe. With the air of dumbass.
It's like, derp.
Duh.
My God, you guys. But back with Sarah Jane, she goes back to the think tank. She's got a half hour left on her pass, and she lies to the guard. She's like, I forgot my notepad in there. The guy's like, all right, cool, go on in. Basically.
Yeah. Like, oh, hold on. Let me check on this.
All right.
And just like disappears.
Yeah. And she's just like, and gone.
Yeah.
Like immediately takes off. Like the car's still sitting there running.
Yeah. Makes her way to the robotics factory. The robotics division.
Yep. And runs into the robot.
The
Which
robot.
we finally get the first appearance of the robot. And damn, it's big.
It's big. It looks kind of like somebody went into the HVAC department of like your Lowe's or Home Depot and just kind of like crashed through a couple of sections of it.
Came out and was like,
There was a lot of venting and aluminum siding used in the construction of
Yes.
this robot.
yes, there was.
And again, props to the actor who clearly had issues moving around and seeing in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Jointed is not something this was.
No,
I've
that
seen
was-
full sets of armor that had more creases in this. He had to stiff leg it the entire time.
boom. It was so, well, I mean, it was so robotic, but it could have been better.
Yeah, it was. Oh god, you could just tell the actor was struggling in this getup.
Yes. And Sarah Jane is trapped, and that's where we leave off on part 1. It's just like, oh no, what's
Bum,
going to
bum,
happen?
bum.
If this was 1974, we'd have to wait a week. Instead, we don't. Part 2. So Director Winters shows up, stops the robot, tells it to shut down, and says that she had set this entire thing up for Sarah Jane to show off that Sarah Jane wanted a robot. Well, here's a robot for you.
Here it is for you. Like, why didn't you just show me in the first place?
Yeah.
What was the secrecy about?
What was this needed for? You could have just been like, hey, Sarah Jane's back. Oh, yeah, we've got the robot for you.
Right. And, oh, is it safe? Well, that's a good question. Is it safe? And Director Winters instructs the robot to kill Sarah Jane.
Yeah.
Which it immediately starts having issues because it went against its prime directive of not being able to hurt humanity. Asimov.
Asimov's 3 rules.
Yeah. Like, and props to the writer of this episode, because he even said in a later interview that, yeah, that was a direct Asimov ripoff.
Yeah.
I totally stole that. So, credit.
I mean, when an idea is that good and
Don't
that
reinvent
solid,
the wheel.
just go with it.
Yeah.
Just to allow it to be part of your whatever next sci-fi it's now part of sci-fi.
Right.
It's like ray guns in sci-fi. Everyone has a laser or a ray gun.
And they all have to go pew pew pew.
Pew pew.
But the conflict with the prime directive causes the robot some brain issues, and it basically sparks out and shuts down.
Yes.
And Director Winters says, see, it can't possibly hurt you because it's programmed not to. And even if it's ordered to do something that it's programmed it can't do, it will,
It'll freak out
it'll
like this.
freak out like this. So it can't, it's no worries. And Sarah Jane pretty much gives her the "you're psycho" kind of look and dips.
Yeah.
Just takes her
She's like,
leave
"And
as
I'm out."
quickly as possible.
And so we catch up with the doctor and the brigadier running down, what this could be that's been doing these break-ins, and they're still talking about the case. They're breaking that stuff down. And Sarah Jane literally interrupts and says it perfectly. The doctor's like, well, I mean, it could be a giant... She's like, robot! Giant robot!
Well, yeah, it could be. Yeah,
Yeah. And tells them all about what's going on at the think tank. And that and right away the brigadier is like, I mean, that could be. The doctor's like, it is. That is what's going on. That robot is stealing this stuff.
Right. It has
Come
an
on.
agenda. It's getting a weapon.
Yeah.
Why does a robot need a weapon?
I love that question. But over at the think tank, Winters and assistant Jellicoe, they're working on the robot and then give it a target to kill. I'm like, what? Didn't they just say that the robot couldn't hurt people? Why
Right.
are you giving it a target? Even
though it seems to have already killed 2 people already without much problem.
I know. Sometimes stories you just have to go, okay, well,
It's the doctor. Accept it.
Exactly. But yeah, I thought it was really like the way that the Sarah Jane walking in perfect moment that was well rehearsed. Good job, guys. But yeah, so the plan now is that Unit is going to be sending Harry into the think tank while the doctor, Sarah Jane, and Brigadier visit Kettlewell. So Kettlewell ends up talking to them about his robot after the doctor basically just tricked him into it. He's like, now tell me.
Yeah. Like, here, I showed interest in your research and
I helped you with it.
And prove that I already know and I'm a man of science, and we start talking about it, and like, no, all right, enough.
Now tell me about your robot.
Tell me what you're doing. Yeah.
And he's like, well, when I left, I ordered to have it dismantled, and it tore my heart apart, and blah, blah, blah.
It was like a son to me.
Yeah. I was like, okay, that I totally understand from building things. You get attached to that. But clearly it wasn't dismantled.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, what could they need a robot for?
And then a robot attacks it. I like this. Robot attacks random old rich guy. All right? And steals an envelope.
Right.
What?
Yeah. Why? Huh?
Yeah, it really is. Huh? Brigadier goes over the connection between the Reform Society and Think Tank. So the Scientific Reform Society.
Yeah.
They're like, we're going to reduce we're going to get rid of everything and rebuild and teach people with science instead. It's like, how are you going to do that? You're going to have to, like, drop us back to the Stone Age and then rebuild this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Crazy people.
Yeah. Reminds me, it's actually the exact same plot they use in Thunderball, James Bond.
Really?
Pretty much, except the villain gets them all off onto a space station. Is it Thunderball? No, it's not Thunderball. It's
Moonraker?
Moonraker. Thank you. Yes.
Oh my god, that was, oddly enough, a number of years after this, but
Right. So I think
Wow.
James Bond ripped off Doctor Who.
somebody at James.
But yeah,
Doctor Who did it first.
the intent was to make it basically a space arc and then devastate the planet and then repopulate with the genetically
Superior.
hand-picked superior people.
Okay.
So, yeah, James Bond ripped off Doctor Who.
Wow.
That's all right.
Okay. Yeah, doctor suggests visiting the think tank in the morning. It's like, you know what? I this is one thing that I enjoyed about the classic series is that they'd be like, we can get to that tomorrow. And they're like, yeah, there's the plans for a disintegrator gun out there.
Right. Show a sense of urgency.
We'll get to it tomorrow. And it's like,
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
We all need to sleep. I'll see you at 9. We'll make it 9.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, really? But the robot goes to Professor Kettlewell while having this emotional breakdown like a teenage girl.
Right. After having killed its now what, fourth
Person finally having the emotional breakdown.
Am I a bad robot?
No, you're not a bad robot. I thought that was pretty cool.
Come in. Let me talk to you. They're driving me insane. I know. Go back to them. What? No. I want to live with you.
They're ruining my life, Dad. They're like, yeah, I know, but you can't be here.
Yeah, you've got to go home.
Yeah, you just can't be here. But I like how the next day Sarah Jane goes and visits the Scientific Reform Society and throws the best insult at them. She's like, yeah, I'm going to put you in the article somewhere between the UFOers and the flat earthers.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Slam.
Oh, that's a slam. I was like, good on you, Sarah Jane.
Yes, I'm giving you no credence whatsoever. You're a bunch of loons.
Dude, Sarah Jane is a badass companion. She's awesome.
I'm getting that idea. She's very quick.
Yeah. Like, especially, I mean, this is 74. Women really didn't even wear pants at the time. And she's throwing stuff around like this.
Right. Would have been a little sass.
Damn right. But yeah, the doctor ends up heading over to Professor Kettlewell because Kettlewell's like, the robot's here, doctor. Come. He's
Yeah.
like, all right. Well, as soon as Kettlewell hangs up, Winters and her assistant just show up. And I'm like, how the hell did they get there? How did Kettlewell not notice a vehicle pulling up in the 70s? Because no vehicle was quiet at the time.
Yeah, you heard him a block away.
Yeah.
At least.
You're like, I wonder if that's for the neighbors. Whatever.
And how did nobody else see this robot come trundling into this neighborhood? It's leaving crater-sized footprints everywhere.
It's a 1/4-ton tank that's walking.
Yeah.
People would have felt it.
Yeah, people would have felt it. Somebody would have heard it. At least one person in the neighborhood would have went, quiet that down, and yelled out the
Tiptoeing
window.
through.
Yeah, it's doing the John Belushi sneak in Animal House. Like, we see you.
Yeah, but you don't hear me. You're like, shut up, robot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the doctor ends up realizing that he's heading into a trap. Leaves a note for Sarah Jane and the Brigadier and whoever's going to read it that he's going to Kettlewell's, knowing it's a trap. But he can handle it. But he's going to leave the note for you guys if he can't handle it. I'm like,
Just in case I can't. You know, this is where I'm at.
the doctor's like, I have a plan. I have a backup to that plan. I have a backup to that backup if the plan starts to fail in any way.
Right. By the way, you're the backup to the backup. Just
Yeah.
be on point.
But I really liked seeing Bessie, the yellow Doctor Who car. The third Doctor, because he couldn't travel in the TARDIS.
Right.
He had a car. That was Bessie.
Oh, okay.
And the license plate is Who Won.
Who won? Right on. See, I just saw him in the car and was like, oh, of course the Doctor would drive something like that. Well, apparently, yeah, the Doctor does drive something like that.
John Pertwee bought it. He owned it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, he was the Doctor for the rest of his life. He's like, makes appearances, and it's just like, yeah, what's up? I'm the Doctor.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
You're not the Doctor now. Ah, time, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, so the robot ends up the greatest terrible fight of all time so far. The Doctor versus the robot.
Yes, the scuttling around the work area.
While the robot just swings wildly.
Yeah, and kind of trundles after him. And this is definitely one of those. The Doctor could have casually walked away.
Oh, yes.
Sonic the lock open and just strolled away. And the robot would have still been coming after him. Like halfway across the room.
Hey, hold on. I'm coming. I got this.
You could argue that the robot was employing the Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers approach of I'm going to walk you to death.
Yes.
And, you'll trip sooner or later because, of course, that's exactly what happens. The Doctor trips and then gets bonked.
And ends up laying at the foot of the stairs as the robot is leaning over him. And we end with a cliffhanger, ladies and gentlemen. What's going to happen to the Doctor?
Right.
Is the Doctor going to survive this?
Yeah, something tells me he's going to be okay.
There's like 8 other Doctors that I would have to say yes.
Yeah.
The Doctor survives.
There may be some damage here, but probably not. But yeah, the ridiculous fight. When he swings like some kind of pulley at him. Some,
just
like, big,
a
heavy
bunch
chain.
of chains.
Like, what was
really?
that? You have a sonic screwdriver.
He does.
It actually works on robots.
I know.
You would think that would be your go-to maneuver, like, I will kill you. No.
Hold on.
Stop. Just stop where you are.
We're going to open you up. We're going to figure out what's going on in here. We're going to fix you.
I thought maybe, again in the back of my head, like, maybe the Sonic has gotten multiple upgrades over the seasons, which I'm sure it has. I mean, it evolved into a pair of sunglasses, which we all don't talk about. But
there was a cane at one point.
Of course there was a cane.
That was Matt Smith.
Yeah, that was Matt Smith. God damn it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, of course, because sooner or later the Doctor be pimping. Of course, it would be Matt Smith.
He was wearing a tux on his way out, man.
True. Fair enough.
But yeah.
Little things like that. I was just like, am I missing something, or is this just we're gonna take it as whenever I picked up with the Doctor, he's had a few years to learn.
Yes.
By the time I met him as Chris Eccleston,
just a little bit,
just a little bit of time there. So I was like, all right, maybe he's still learning. He's still he's obviously a couple of 100 years old already, but he's still learning. He's got a couple of millennia.
Yeah, this is earlier than that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so you're just jumping into the deep end, and I'm going, these waters are so awesome and cool, and this is great. Come on, you're gonna enjoy it.
And I'm just like, something touched my foot.
I'm like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
No. Seriously, I think a rubber monster just touched my foot.
Yeah. You're gonna run into those a lot. Keep going. At some point, we're gonna go back to the third Doctor, and you're gonna be like, oh, this is hard to watch. I find it hard to watch the first Doctor.
Yeah, I did attempt to watch the very first pilot episode.
Unearthly Child.
Yes. I'll be honest, I did not get very far into the episode.
it is
I found
so-
something else to do.
It's like visually, it's just dark.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that it's black and white, but wow.
Yeah, it's like Nosferatu dark.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like, how did anyone watch this? It's like, gather around. We'll just turn up the sound.
because the alternative was radio.
That's true. So people were just like, whatever.
We'll deal with it. It's okay. Of course, at the time, they were probably like, look at the definition on this. It's amazing. It's
I
like
can
they're right
see an
here.
image.
Yeah, I can actually see something in that box.
Can you imagine showing, like, someone at that time, like, one of today's episodes? Like, this is the same show.
I think it would be much akin to the first Doctor trying on the Sonic Shades with Capaldi, going, "What's a web history? Give me that.
No,
Give
nope,
me that.
nope,
no, no.
You do not go in there.
Sunglasses inside. They're Sonic sunglasses. What? Doesn't even make any sense."
This is a computer. They're like, okay, we have a lot more questions beyond showing me this episode.
Yeah.
What's a
Or-
laptop?
Yeah, or like showing somebody who would some of the original computers where you had to actually like punch the cards and put them in and do card by card by card by just strolling past them with a cell phone.
Like, whoop.
It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What is that little thing? Oh, this is like 90 million times the computer power of what you've got going on right there.
That's... Sorry, dude.
Have fun with that.
I'm going to tweet about this.
Yeah. What's a tweet? It's when you write with a bird.
Yes. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, so you're still on. You're not gonna ditch out on me next week. We're gonna finish this story.
No,
at
we're gonna
least.
finish the story. Absolutely.
Okay, good.
We're
Good.
in there.
Good. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you because you've got to the end of the episode with us. Thank you, Matt, because you actually watched and you forgot to take notes. I forgive you. I forgive you.
Yeah, all right. But I obviously did watch the
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah. But yeah, so thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go ahead and see you next week when we go over Robot. It's just Robot. Parts 3 and 4, the conclusion of this story. And in the meantime, yes, Matt.
The exciting, compelling, action-packed conclusion of this story.
Hey, you know what? Action budgets weren't that big at the time, okay?
Oh, something got big on the screen. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that next episode.
Yes. And remember to keep your eyes and ears out. Oh, wait, actually, before you even do that, I want you to scroll down. Leave a comment down below. And but before you do that, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Go ahead. Then the subscribe button right next to it. Then I want you to join the notification squad so you can join in on the fun with us. And remember to keep your eyes and ears out because you never know where or when the Doctor's going to turn up next. Have a great week, everybody.